Hello everybody, floor pans are out. Life is a lot better now. So all I used was my tools that are currently stored underneath the car here. And it's a Flintstone mobile. Cut around the perimeter, like I said. This is a pretty important area. That's where I'm going to, if I had a do-over, I may not have done a 90-degree here. I probably would have been a 45. But there's enough meat there to get fasteners. The new pan is going to be all the way up to the rear edge of this seat brace. And it'll be fastened along like my finger is going, keeping that profile there. So the new pan will just drop in. And the other side is cut out as well. So I don't know if you guys have heard of using phosphoric acid to remove rust, but right now the wife and I are planning that out. There's a process on how you use it. It calls for keeping the metal damp, two-step process, and we're thinking the last thing we want to do is have a garden hose in here. Keeping the metal wet, so we're thinking about sponge bathing in a bucket and wearing gloves and doing the phosphoric acid process in here. I don't know if this will even get a lot of ratings or views on YouTube, but I sure would like some feedback. If anybody knows who's the expert on Volkswagens, on where are the factory supplied drain ports, because right now what I see is the people's car at its best. Very few drain holes. I've located one drain hole over here. It's complicated to show, I won't even video it, but it's nothing more than probably half the diameter of a pencil. I was fishing from underneath on the rocker and I found a drain hole, but it doesn't come into this area. It comes into this thing here, the rocker. So we're looking at how can we keep this whole car damp on the inside, and then we got back here and we started looking at the wheel well, and if we get water in there, how does the water drain back there? So we're thinking about unloading some rust neutralizer down in the crevasses that are difficult. And now you're saying, why don't I just use rust neutralizer everywhere? Well, the end game here is going to look like this. We're going to phosphoric acid, because that is supposed to eat away the rust if you follow the process. And then we're going to be pour 50 on all our PR 15, yeah, pour 15, all on the inside. On a positive note though, I think I just found a way to mount speakers, because right there are speaker ports. If I'd have known that, I would not have done that. So that's a fail. I have worked for a while, but anyway, this is moving along really nicely. We have new floor pans. All I have to do is keep the floor pan chunk that will be larger than this opening, and the new floor pan is going to be right in this area here. Don't know why that's bent. I gotta figure out what the hell that is. It has something to do with the seat when you slide it forward and back. The new floor pan is going to be as far over this way as possible, and it'll be sitting atop this area back here. Well, actually, no, it'll be up in here, all the way up in here. The wife has to get in here and chip away at some of this heavy seam sealer, but the new floor pan is going to be right in here. I've got to dodge that brake line a little bit. It's in pretty good shape. That big opening there was evidently someone's solution to working on the transmission years ago, and right there too, the shifter linkages and what have you. I haven't taken the pedals out because I don't need to now, because all this floor pan is in great shape. The underside of this floor pans, I don't know, they just looked really good. Walk over to my scrap heap that needs hauled off. Now I say really good, but of course you had bad areas, but we were beating away on the floor pan and we still had black metal showing in places. Here's one of them. Another floor pan. Black paint, I mean, not black metal. For the age of the car, it's in really good shape. Now, I will say that we found evidence that the car was restored in 2000. So right now, one of my tasks next is to be rid of the glove box assembly as a unit to give the wife some room to get back into her sanding process, and she'll probably start up there on all over the hood. It looks like rust, but funny thing is we started scraping at it and we discovered it's not. We ordered a new headliner and we were provided with a quart, I think it was a quart container of glue. I can't imagine gluing my headliner up there. I'm against it right now. This headliner takes the old-fashioned rod style suspension system, and my thoughts are if the rods are springy enough, they'll keep your headliner up. Why are we gluing it to the ceiling? I just don't understand that. Alright, well that's it for now, and we'll be putting the new floor pans in after corrosion control. So the next video will be using the phosphoric acid in the areas shown, eventually PORing the interior, roughing up this red paint, getting it blacked out, minimizing the amount of areas that need painted on the interior, because her intent is to change the color. We had this door repaired here recently because a big SUV did not see my wife at a Walmart parking lot as she was driving into a lane to search for a parking spot, and she backed right into this door, and the painter said that there were, to his count, approximately 13 different colors on this car. One of those layers was roll-on latex paint. So, when it comes time for me to start painting, I'm thinking me and a DA is going to be dialing in about 80 grit to start, and living the life right out here in the driveway. So, well, that's our status. Thank you all very much. And again, if anybody knows of, well, actually, I'm more interested to find out if anybody has solved the problems. Two problems. Number one is, has anyone done a mod to their Volkswagen so that if water gets in, it can drain naturally? And number two, there's a technical term for cars like this where the windows don't have a metal frame like on my Cougar over there. The window rolls up into a metal frame on the door. The door itself has a top metal frame along the top, if you can see. Well, has anyone used a more modern day sealing mechanism? And so, to be specific, I think the newer Volkswagens, as soon as you grab that door handle to open the door, instantly power is applied to the window motor to drop this window down the clearance amount needed to allow you to open the door, and then when you close the door, it jumps back up again. I'm not interested in that technology. I'm interested in some other older tech that's simpler but had better sealing. This right here, the door's not closed all the way, the window's not up all the way, but be brutally honest with you, I'm trying to get this seal here for you to show you how much let me do it. That's all you get right there. You can't take these cars through a car wash. I didn't even know that as a new Volkswagen owner. I was called retarded. One old guy says, everybody knows you don't take Volkswagens through a car wash. Well, I didn't know. So, we have found the reason why the car was taking water in. It was in the rear of each floor pan. It was coupled with an area I found right here. There's a fracture in the metal that leads to the outside world, right where my chalk marks are, just above it. And also a pinhole back here. With that in mind, my attempts to make this car watertight might be futile, but I'll end up with a better solution than just ignoring it. It will require me to get the car up in the air, take the wheels off, and rework the wheel wells completely. Bust away at the old undercoating, because there is a very, very generous coat of undercoating underneath this car. And sometimes when that happens, you either A, think you have a car that's really well taken care of, or B, what were they hiding? I don't think there's a lot hidden in here. I was underneath the car chipping away at the old undercoating that was becoming loose, and I'm seeing nothing but shiny paint, so I think we're in good shape. I can't tell if the car has had floor pans replaced before. I can't tell if there's any signs of people that have been in here. I'll be honest, I think I'm looking at original floor pans. And if that's so, then buying this car in Arizona about, I'd say 7 or 8 years ago, it was a cherry and it still is. So we're planning on trying to keep it as a daily worker. We don't like those cars that those classic cars that sit in those garages and never see daylight. Gregory is the name of this car. Gregory, that's what the wife has named it. And Gregory's getting some attention. So far we have enough materials to fully rework the entire interior of the car with all new product, excluding all the items that you see here, like the steering wheel is going to remain, the glove box will remain, but all the seat coverings and carpets, headliner, Got a couple of items out back. I'm doing 2 new heat exchangers and a new muffler. And oh yeah, while I'm thinking about it, the Y fitting for the heaters, guys. I think I'll probably be like the 3rd person ever on planet Earth to talk about these 2 things. There's one thread on the Sabra, I think that's how you say it. It's a site for Karmann Ghias, KPRG, I believe. There's one guy who has a photo of his Y fittings out for heat. I don't know what's factory and what's not, but I had to remove some what appeared to be fiberglass wrap with a couple of zip ties around it back here that was covering these holes. And I say to myself, what the hell are these for? Why do I have all these pinholes in the first place? If the job of these are to deliver heat to the floor in the back, or if the floor is not chosen, then the little door is closed and all the heat goes up to your feet, or it goes up to the dash, depending on what you pick on your handles. What the hell are these holes for? When they were wrapped up and tightly cinched off, like someone said, I don't want any hot air to leak. I've got to put a patch around it. Because if that's the case, then why have that fiberglass stuff anyway? I want to wrap this with some of the inexpensive but thicker, well, it's 3M aluminum tape. Put about 4 or 5 good bands of that stuff around these to close that off. Now the wife said it might be an engineered solution for an idea that this car will produce too much heat. Therefore, they engineered a certain amount of leakage back here with that wrap that's around it to reduce the amount of heat, because these cars get hot. Holy cow, in the wintertime, just inside of a minute, you've got heat, buddy, like you wouldn't believe. Most people don't have heat in these cars, and it has a lot to do with all these little wires, all these little cables, these things that do stuff to make these little flappers open, the simple technology that's associated with these. There you go. There you go, some cables moving already. So, if anybody can comment on this, I want to wrap this with aluminum tape, sticky back tape, for temporary exhaust repair work. In this application, I don't think we're going to hit the degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius, from depending on what side of the pond you're on. I don't think we're going to hit any temperatures that's going to compromise that tape. So, alright, well, there's that. Next video, I guess, is on phosphoric acid. Thank you, guys. Bye.